Well, outbursts and frustration, that's how many people might characterize this afternoon's city council meeting, which largely surrounded the budget. From MATA to city salaries, there was a lot of discussion, but also lots of concern. ABC 24's Lauren Turman joins us live outside of City Hall. Lauren, what was one of the primary takeaways from tonight's meeting?
Well, Pepper, if anyone has been to a city council meeting before, you'll hear from the chairperson that outbursts are not tolerated. Well, tonight was nothing short of explosive, as many of those outbursts could not be contained, even ending with one person being kicked out of the meeting room, as plenty of people came forward to express all of their concerns. Now, the most important thing coming out of tonight is that the council approved and passed a nearly $900 million budget. Now, some major budget items that were discussed tonight include raises for city employees, MATA, and a little bit of XAI. So there are a lot of items within all of that $900 million and some additions to resolutions that made things confusing tonight. So I want to walk you through each of these important points. First, raises for city employees at 3% was passed. There was additional discussion tonight about that raise being higher or at a higher percentage, but that failed. So the 3% citywide employee raise was something that was passed tonight. Otherwise, a new discussion on the table was that Mayor Young thinks that there was no finalization of the additional revenue that would contribute to needing that kind of an additional raise or that kind of large salary increase at the moment. So he wanted to emphasize that that is likely why that 3% budget increase stayed. One of the other primary points was about MATA, as several public commenters noted that they needed a $15 million increase otherwise than what was on the table. Now, what's on the table right now is budgeted for $30 million, but many public commenters were asking for $45 million. And now also, in addition to that, benefits would come from the transit system, they said, if that was raised, but at this point, there has been no sign that that dollar amount will increase. The emotion and frustration of the night was very clear in the room, and the meeting was actually paused for 15 minutes because of a series of outbursts from a couple of people. And I want to show you what that outburst looked like and also what Memphians are saying about budget season.
This is subversion of the democratic process. We have a right to be heard. You cannot make anyone sign away their right to the Constitution.
The most accurate word I could use is frustrating. It was a very frustratingly procedural meeting. I'm sure that the city council looked out and saw a lot of students there mobilized for XAI. And although we were here for a meeting where that particular ordinance, the environmental justice ordinance, was not up for a vote, it should have been obvious that there was a high level of emotion out in the crowd.
And this has also been a big day for XAI, which I mentioned was discussed very shortly earlier, specifically when it comes to the criticism of XAI following Mayor Young's meeting with some Tennessee legislative leaders. And tonight was specifically focused, or supposed to be focused rather, about some environmental reform that was supposed to be a resolution on the table. That is something that will be discussed at a later meeting, so it was pushed back, but it is something that will be continued to be read and also discussed at a later point. But again, $900 million budget was approved, so certainly a lot of budget items to be discussed and things that Memphians were saying as they voiced those concerns tonight, as they had concerns about all of their public commentary not being able to be heard, and as things bounced around quite a bit, as resolutions were amended and then taken away and added again. And of course, we will continue to follow all of those budget updates with this approval, but for now, live from City Hall, I'm Lauren Turman, ABC 24 News.